There were a number of times when Jesus, after he rose from the dead, appeared to his disciples and they didn't recognize him. What was he, wearing a disguise or something? Was it a Syracuse winter and he was all bundled up? Example, he appeared to Mary. She thought he was the gardener. Example, he appeared in her room and he had to say, guys, it's me. Look at the prints in my hands and don't be afraid. Example, his disciples were on a road, kind of like I am right now, walking along on a road. And they had a long conversation with him and they didn't recognize him until he broke bread. Remember? What's going on? Let's watch one movie maker's idea of how it all went down.
I don't understand. The things he did, the things he said, I was certain he was the one.
What kind of conversation is this?
Are you the only stranger in Jerusalem who does not know the things which have happened there these days?
What things?
The things concerning Jesus of Nazareth.
He was a prophet, mighty indeed, word before God and all the people. The chief priests and our rulers delivered him to be condemned to death and crucified him. But we were hoping that it was he who would redeem Israel.
O foolish ones, and slow of heart to believe in all that the prophets have spoken. Ought not the Christ to have suffered these things, and to enter into his glory? Was it not in the garden, when sin was birthed, that the conquering of sin was promised? From the beginning there was the promised coming of one who would smite that serpent of old, but not without suffering affliction. While under the foot of other nations in Babylon, Daniel prophesied that the Messiah would be cut off, but not for his sake. David said that his hands and feet would be pierced, his garments would be divided, and for his clothing they would cast lots. Just as the rock in the wilderness had to be struck by Moses in order to bring forth water, so too the Son of Man had to be stricken to bring forth living water.
Father, thank you for giving us this day our daily bread, that hunger may be satisfied. Remember the suffering servant, spoken of by Isaiah. He was pierced for our transgressions, crushed for our iniquities. The chastisement for our peace was upon him. By his wounds, we are healed.
Did not our hearts burn within us as he talked with us on the road? And as he opened the scripture to us,
We have to tell everyone.
I have my own idea about how things happened, and I could illustrate by showing you first a photograph of Abraham Lincoln within weeks of his assassination, after the end of the Civil War, right here. And I can show you another one of him at the time that he was elected, right at the time he was elected. The two photos right here, the two photos are only about the same time apart as the life of Jesus before he started his ministry and the life of Jesus at the end of his ministry. Imagine looking at Abraham Lincoln for a whole month near the end of his life, seeing him every day and getting used to his worn and sad look. But then imagine that on another day, a resurrected Abraham Lincoln comes and stands in front of you looking like he did 4 years before, fresh, young, rested, healthy, vigorous. You might not even recognize him. This leads me to think about what we're going to be like when we're resurrected. And that's what we'll talk about at Home Fellowships tonight.